Hi, my name is Leslie Calvo and I'm here on my beautiful new channel that is all about allowing you to go deeper into your own happiness, joy, freedom, and to be able to live an easier and freer life from this day forward. And this episode today that we're talking about, which I'm really excited to talk about, is overwhelm, which I think is something that affects so many people. Also, particularly what we're looking at today is when you've got so many different things that you're focusing on, so many different balls that you're juggling, that you don't know where to start, that you're feeling completely overwhelmed, and actually the overwhelm is stopping you get anything done. So you're in that process of having so many different fragmented pieces that it's stopping you actually move forward and getting the stuff done that you need to do. So this is something that happens to a lot of people, and how your brain works is when we have a lot of different things that we're focusing on, a lot of different things that we're doing, what happens is you're opening up, if you imagine on a computer, you're opening up lots of different tabs, right? Because your brain it wants to create patterns. And if you think to yourself, like when you make coffee in the morning, you don't have to think about it. You just go and do it almost automatically because your brain has a pattern for that. It knows what to do. It doesn't have to think. But when you're opening all these different tabs, your brain is trying to search for patterns that are happening. So there's a lot of different processes that are going on neurologically when you're doing this. So if you've got a lot of balls in the air, as I say, it means that your brain is working really, really hard to actually try and process and create patterns from each one of these. So the first thing, I'm going to give you two different exercises that are very different in form. The first one that I would like to give you is about actually allowing yourself to understand the process of that. So normally we've got to-do lists, right? So we write a to-do list and then we're kind of doing bits of all of them or doing a bit of this, and there's no kind of order, which the next part of this and the second exercise is going to help you actually to be able to look at and put in order everything, because often we think that everything is urgent. What's the most important thing? But the second exercise I'm going to teach you is all about like being able to put them into like a real priority list. But this one is actually being aware that the best thing that we can do for overwhelm is actually just focus on one thing at a time rather than sort of starting a few different things. The best thing that we can do is just help our brain to not have too many pathways open and focus on one thing that we're doing. Even if we just focus on that for a certain amount of time, then stop it, then go on to the next thing and stop it. That's going to be really, really helpful for you, because what you're going to experience is that you're going to be able to be like more focused in that first thing that you're doing as you're allowing your whole brain to be on that. And also that's part of being in the present moment, which is something I teach a lot. So it's just, so you're looking at what you've got to do. So you've got all these balls. Okay, then you find out the priority, which is what I'm going to teach you in a minute. And then once you do that, you focus just on that thing, just in the present moment. So it's almost as if you're going to park all those other things that you're doing to the side and just allow yourself to have tunnel vision on that one thing that you're doing. Because what that will do is it will release a lot of space in your brain and release a lot of the pressure that happens with overwhelm. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to invite you with that is just to tell yourself in that moment that you can do this. I've got this. You can do this. Something that's encouraging, because that's going to shift the energy as well. I talk a lot about language and how it affects you physically. So there's two little things. So you're going to just do one thing at a time, completely in the present moment, allowing yourself to be in the present moment, focusing on that. And the next thing you do is to speak from the place of like, I can do this. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get this done so quickly. So that there's an awareness of that. So you're kind of allowing yourself to encourage yourself in that moment and focus on one thing. That's going to help you neurologically not feel so overwhelmed with what's happening, because there's not so many tabs open. And the exercise that I'm going to give you that's all about finding the priority is actually to take a bird's eye view on what you're doing. And this I literally mean literally. You literally close your eyes. So in this moment, you can do it now or you can do it later. This is an exercise. I want you to close your eyes and just imagine you're going to zoom out from your body. So you're going to zoom out and you're going to go above and you're going to keep going up so that you can watch yourself from above. Okay, and let me know when you've just first done that and you first experienced that in the comments, how that is for you, because it would be great to hear back from you. Because often when we haven't done this, we haven't experienced this, we're unaware of how easy it is for us to take a different perspective and look at things from a different perspective. And when we talk about having a bird's eye perspective, it's mean because we have the overall vision. Often when we're in the middle of doing something with all these moving parts, what happens, we're tending to just look like this. We can't see the overall bigger picture of this. So as you're doing this, so you imagine you're going to go up. And I'm going to put a meditation on here actually about how to do this. I'll do a bird's eye meditation for you so you can keep an eye on that. So you go up and then you just witness yourself as you go up. You keep going up so you see all people behind, underneath you being tiny. You see tiny cars. You keep going up from that space, and then you just look at your life from that space. You look down at what you're doing and you can start to see things from a new perspective. You can start to see things as they actually pan out in front of you from a place that, and I'm gonna, I think I'll link in the meditation to this episode so that you've got it, so that you can do it afterwards or do it anytime that you want. Because it's a beautiful way of being able to actually look at things, because as we're involved in something, we're so focused on all this like kind of noise that we forget that there is actually a wider perspective available to us. And then from that space, you will be able to start seeing what's the most important, what's the thing that you need to do first. You know, there's also a beautiful way that you can actually start to look at your list of all the things that you've got to do, and you can grade it in 3 ways: things that needs to be done now, things that can have a date, and things that you will do later. So often we have on our to-do list, it's all mixed up and it all feels very important. But when you start to break it down into those 3 options, so things that can be done now, things that you give a date on, and then things that can be done later, you know. So when we do that, so you give a date, so you look at your list, okay, what has to be done absolutely today, right now, right in this moment, and then mark those off on your list. Then the next thing is actually starting to look at, okay, well, when does this need to be done? This needs to be done, say, on the 2nd, or this can be done on the 3rd, or this can be done on Monday afternoon. You start to give a date to things. So again, it just creates a bit of space. And the 3rd thing is like, oh, okay, I'd like to do that, later. It's like, I'd like to learn the piano, but it's not something that's really important right now. So just being aware that your to-do list, you can start to break it up, which will also really help with overwhelm. So from those 2 places, so first of all, having the awareness that, by trying to do too many things at once, you're going to open up a lot of tabs. So it's going to feel like there's a lot of things going on, a lot of stuff happening. But when we just break it down to one thing that you want to focus on, choose one thing at a time, and almost, I want you to imagine whether you put them to the side, put them behind you, put them to the other side, whatever you're going to do with it spatially. I want you to imagine you're going to take those things and put them to the side of yourself and just focus on that one thing. That's going to allow you to open up space. The second thing is to do the exercise where you get the perspective. It's going to be a 5-minute meditation. It'll be very quick, where you can see the perspective and actually see the broader field of what needs to be done when. Giving yourself like literally a breath of fresh air in that moment so that it takes you out of that experience so that you can witness it from a completely different viewpoint. And then after you've done that, you can break it down so that you can actually start to see, okay, what needs to be done now, what can be given a date, and what can be done later. And all of those 3 things, they're going to really help to actually be able to lift and clear, because it's about, often we feel like we've got all these moving things going on. There's so many things that we're supposed to be doing. So this will help clarity on that. And then when we go deeper into this, what I invite you into is also, if anyone has been on my channel for a while, you can be aware that I'm really into meditation and the power of training your monkey mind. Okay, what meditation does is it allows you to take space from your thoughts, to take space from the overwhelm, to take space from the to-do list. You start to train your mind because your mind is going poof, 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 poof. And through meditation, you start to bring yourself back to stillness, bring yourself back to the present moment. And in that moment, you just give yourself a little bit of a gap between yourself and the noise. Okay, so I'm going to invite you into meditation. I'm going to invite you into taking some time every day to sit into stillness, to start to train your mind so that this noise becomes quiet. Okay, and we can do that through, I've got lots of beautiful meditations that you can access. I'm putting some on here as well that you'll be able to access, about just starting to train the way that you think, so that you can allow yourself to have power over your thoughts. You can allow yourself stillness and silence. And when we do that, when we start doing that, it affects every part of our life. It affects and goes into every decision that we make, because we can come from a different place within ourselves. We can come from a strength, and we can come from a place of connecting to our source energy within, which is an extremely powerful place to come from. So there's a few exercises for you there, which I think are really going to be very helpful for you. And I'd love to hear in the comments how you get on with those. Any questions as well, I would love to hear from you. Any questions that come up, let me know. And I would look forward to seeing you on the next episode.